Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to welcome you to this Q&A session on the resale real estate market in Bangalore. Today, we are joined by Mr. Manoj Agarwal, the MD and founder of Agarwal Estates. With over 12 years of experience in real estate and 20 years in IT in the US, he has been instrumental in transforming the way people perceive real estate transactions in India. His unwavering commitment to trust, transparency, and empowering clients has made Agarwal Estates a trusted name in the resale market. We are thrilled to have him here to answer your questions. Here's how today's session will flow. We'll begin with a short overview of the Bangalore resale market. Then we'll dive straight into the Q&A session where Mr. Manoj will address your queries. So you can either unmute yourself and ask the question or type your questions in the chat box. And the session will last for approximately 45 minutes and we'll wrap up with the key takeaways. So without further ado, let's get started.
Happy morning to all of you. One more update at 11:45, CA Himanshu Baheti will join the call. So in case anybody have any questions on taxation, Himanshu can answer those questions. Okay. So the whole purpose of having this webinar is to, make the interaction more open, more straightforward. And we strongly believe in a concept called KEY, knowledge empowers you to make informed decisions. That makes my life easy as well as your life easy as well. So we'll quickly go through like slides for next 10-15 minutes. And I would like to invest most of the time on the Q&A session so I can answer your specific questions. Pooja, next slide, please. So typically, this is a overall process flow when you buy a property on resale market. A buyer would start looking for a property, or a seller would not want to raise investment. And once that matchmaking happens, the buyer likes the property, correct? Then the first part comes on the negotiation. On the negotiations, the kind of mistakes people do, I will try to highlight those things as well here. So what happens when you want to buy a property, the buyer has a lot of emotions attached to the property. A seller is looking at the money factor. So one person is thinking logically, other person is thinking emotionally. Anytime we have a situation like this, right, problem is bound to occur. So it's better to highlight and be aware of the topics of discussion in the beginning, in the initial stage itself during negotiation. So typically what happens, what I have noticed, people look at the negotiation on the price part. And all this 1 week, 2 week discussion goes on regarding the finalizing the price of the property. Once that part is done, both the parties are happy. But then what happens because of the closure time, payment terms and conditions, penalty amount, token advance, legal verifications, right? Because of those things not discussed upfront, the deal gets tagged on for 3-4 months. And now what happens for a seller? It's a huge loss because he has to wait for 3-4 more months to get his money. He had his own plan. At the same time, for the buyer, it's a bigger loss. Bigger loss because it's emotional reason. He bought the property for better life, right? Settlement. And now you get frustrated. I always tell people it's like getting a green card in US. By the time you get the green card in your hand, you're not happy. You're relieved, right? So that's what happened when you buy a property on the resale market. If you can discuss about 3, 4, 5 points upfront, then what happens? Things become much more easier during the later stage. And you can close the deal within 1 month happily. And both buyer and seller becomes the lifelong friends, right? Because the buyer got is like house which is looking for and seller got the money, right? So price part, I'll keep it aside, but look at the closure time. If there's a clarity, maybe buyer is expecting take 3-4 more months, seller expecting in 1 month, better to call it out. So ideal time period is 45 days. Within 45 days, you can get your legal verification done, your bank loan approved. You can arrange your fund from multiple sources, right? And get this done. So both the parties are happy. I'll also share typical standard timeline, right? 45 days. And then on the agreement, there is a buffer period of 2 weeks. So maybe 60 days. If somebody has the money in hand, right? Practically speaking, the whole thing can be closed within 1 week. And this date and time which I'm giving are accurate. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. The moment the lawyer is done with the legal verification, right? It's pretty much eventually you can get the result done if your fund is ready. So things can move as fast as possible. But because of lack of knowledge, lack of processes, right? Lack of clarity, the things get delayed. So it's very, very important before you hand over the token advance check during negotiation. All those things we discuss and close it out. Once that part is done, then typically a buyer would pay 1% of the deal value as a token amount to the owner. This amount is non-refundable. If the buyer changes his plan, he will lose that money. And at that time, the seller would give him the copy of all the legal documents. Now, of course, if something is illegal in the property, lawyer says no, don't go ahead, right? In that condition, the token was refundable. Now, legal verification, lot of time I hear from the buyer, okay, I'm going through the bank loan, so my bank will do the legal verification. In my opinion, when you're buying a property worth 2-3 crore rupees, you're spending so much of money and everything, better to pay 10,000 rupees to a very good lawyer and get the legal done. Even if property is legally cleared from every single angle, right? Still get a good lawyer to do the sanity check. I'll give a specific example. In one of the property in Purva Rivera, the name of the son and the name of the father was same. Can't be possible, right? In one sale deed, the car parking disc was missing basically. So as per that sale deed, there was no sale of car parking on that deal, right? But actually the buyer has paid for the car park. Now when after 20 years, when seller want to pay, so seller want to sell the property and on the sale it is no discussion about car parking. It becomes an impossible task to go back to the builder at that point of time and get at the car parking, right? So it becomes very, very important to have a good lawyer. Sometime also here, कि नहीं नहीं मेरा broker कर देगा, right? In my opinion, this is pure stupidity actually. Pardon my language, right? Never ever rely on your broker for legal verification. Correct? Get a good lawyer. Always. Even though legally verified. Once that part is done, the next part is the sale agreement. A good lawyer will draft a good sale agreement. And again, fortunately, the cost of getting this done by a good lawyer is not too high. A good lawyer will charge you 30,000-40,000 rupees for everything, including legal verification, sale agreement, sale deed, and getting the shit done on the date of registration. Now, people take a sale agreement as very lightly. I have done the same mistake actually, right? I thought sale agreement is to have, but sale agreement is a legally enforceable document. Once both the parties sign sale agreement, it's a legally binding document. Neither party can cancel the deal without paying the penalty. Either party has the power to go to the court. Okay, look, I bought this property, now I want it. Seller have to give it. Okay. Seller can also cancel the contract. Look, this guy was supposed to pay me this much of money by 1 month is not paid, so I'm canceling and forfeiting the amount which is given me. So legal sale agreement is extremely powerful document. Couple of mistakes on the sale agreement. Terms and conditions are not specified clearly. For example, right? You need to specify whatever you discuss on the negotiation part, right? Closure time, payment terms, conditions, penalty amount, token advance, everything should be captured here on the sale agreement. Okay, by this time frame, I'll pay this much. By this time frame, I'll pay this much. By this time frame, I pay the whole amount. I'll do the registration, right? And in case either party backs out for legal issues, then nobody pays the penalty. If there's a delay for any reasons, it could be some amount of interest penalty, or it could be the specific amount either party has to pay and deal can be cancelled. If seller thinks latter part, right, I don't want to go ahead, then it should be mentioned on the sale agreement that we call it a specific performance act. So typically we put 5% of the deal value as a penalty amount for both the parties. It's a market practice. If seller wants to back out, he has to pay that 5% extra to the buyer. Not only he refunds the money is taken from the buyer, he has to pay extra 5% of the deal value as a penalty to the buyer. We have not seen much cases like this, but you never know actually, right? Suppose one other buyer comes, it pays a very high amount, right? Seller may think, no, it's better. But that becomes a very strong barrier for the seller now, that you have to add 5% of the cost, right? Timeline should decide within 2 months, we'll close the deal. The most important part, whatever the super built up area, car parking, right? Discount property has to match exactly what is in the sale deed. Otherwise, it will create huge confusion in the future. Sale agreement has to be properly stamped. Currently, with 0.5%, the stamp duty has to be stamped. Then only it becomes legally valid in the court. Even your bank will insist for the home loan, it has to be legally stamped. Okay. Once sale agreement is done, so typically then the buyer will proceed with the loan. And once loan is approved and sanctioned, both the buyer and seller are ready for the property registration. So at that time, they will draft a sale deed. After that part is done, then the buyer should deduct TDS, pay the stamp duty to the government, schedule a slot online, and both the party comes on the date of registration. And the buyers will come, buyer's bank will also come with the check part, right? And before one day, the buyer's lawyer, as bank's lawyer, will again do the property verification. We call it ODB, original document verification. So most of the document before most of the banks, before they draft the sale agreement, before they make the draft, they'll get already done, right? Now, if this is loan required, it's again a separate cycle, basically. I don't want to discuss in this call right now. If time permits later, we can come back to it. But coming back, just a reminder, don't fall for the legal verification done by the bank. Bank do a due diligence better than us actually, because they typically pay 80% of the amount of the property to the seller. And this is their business. They have done day-to-day basis. So they will do a thorough check, right? They'll put a lot of barriers in place as well, so that property is legally clear. So I agree on all those things. In spite of that, take your own legal opinion. Okay. Any questions so far?
I have a question, Vivek here.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I purchased the property 2 years ago, and I also did the verification through a lawyer. So I found that in the property verification process, they mainly considered the about the land, legal thing, any dispute and all. But there's also one thing that they must check. I feel that what is the plan submitted to RERA and what is the plan designed by the builder. Okay, and is there any deviation in that or not? So and the lawyer did not check and he did not inform anything. But when I checked myself, I found that there is some deviation in terms of, let's say, there's some extra balcony in some places and all. So then I asked lawyer and he said that it is out of the scope of their verification. Then I got a bit confused. I checked with builder. They said that yes, we are doing some deviation, but it will be under 5% or 6% threshold. So that's why there will be no issue with OC. But yeah, there is a deviation. But I feel like since we are not expert here, we do not understand that even if the lawyer is doing the verification, are they covering everything or what is the scope of their verification? So this is also something I believe that it's not very clear for us.
No, Vivek, you are right. Actually, that's why I keep on saying two layer of authentication, right? One by the bank's lawyer. Pooja, can you put on the mute? I think this is background noise. You know what I was saying? You are right, Vivek, actually. So that's where two level of authentication, right? One by the bank's lawyer, one by your own lawyer should happen. And since it's within 5% of that, right? So typically lawyer don't go that deep. It all also depends, right? If it's a residential property or a commercial property and who is the builder, correct? So based on that, since it does not say legal issues, and also the amount of money which they charge, correct? But typically 5 to 10,000 rupees. On that amount, typically they will assume since a RERA approved, that is the job done by the RERA authority. So they may not go that deep, but they do look at the floor plan and super built up and all those things basically. But good point, very good point. Anybody else?
Manoj, this is Avichal.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay. Who is this?
Yeah, this is Sharif here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So what my question is, if you make a RERA and is with parallelly GST is required, and with that, or RERA is enough for the to submit to the
No, no.
builder?
So GST has got a lot of confusion on this part. So two things about GST, okay?
Yeah.
Just be aware, this is very, very important. I don't know who asked this question. I think Sarif, right?
Yeah, my name is Sharif.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. It's very impactful for all the home buyers. So builder have two choices, okay? Either they can charge you 5% GST on the entire amount, or they can charge you 12% GST on the entire amount under construction property. Once OC is received by the builder cannot charge you any GST. So straight away there is a saving of either 5% or 12% of the GST the moment the builder gets the OC. Point number one. Point number two, lot of time. Point number two, now in which case they charge 5% or which case they will 12%. So whenever you go and buy from the builder, ask them, give you the detailed breakup, right? Sometimes they will say plus GST, not good enough. They have to specify the amount, how much plus GST. Because once you sign up all the documents, right? And then they say 12%, then you're in trouble, right? Extra 7% on 2 crore becomes 14 lakh rupees. Now sale agreement is a legally binding document. So you cannot deny their charges. So if the builder charges you 5% GST, that money straightway goes to the government. But builder does not get any credit out of it. If the builder is charging 12% GST to the buyer, then whatever money builder is invested to buy product or services and pay the GST, he can get credit of that money from your money basically. So make sure you look at 5% part only, not 12%. Now, having said that, I'm not from a tax consultant. This is what I know, and all those things are opinion. Rules keep on changing, so please do check at that point of time the prevailing rules and regulations. I think somebody by name AJ had some question. AJ, can you please ask?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, what exactly is RERA?
Okay, so this question I would answer at the last step. We'll go long answer if time permits.
Okay.
In short, basically, in 2016-17, government has come out with a real estate act for the builders. They have to be more transparent and they have to stick to their timeline. They cannot misuse the fund basically, in short. So earlier there was no clarification. How much is your carpet area? How much is built up area? Now legally they have to do specify super built up carpet area and built up area. Second part, earlier builders to do, they'll take your money for this project and invest that money in some other projects and builder will go bankrupt. Some issue comes up, right? So now they cannot transfer your money to some other projects. I mean, there are some thresholds, but it's not that easy. Third, builder has to stick to the timeline. If they say 3 years, they have to finish in 3 years. Otherwise, they have to pay the penalty to the home buyer. But what builder is doing, instead of taking 3 months, 3 years time, they'll go to RERA, I need 4 years. So they've taken the buffer of 1 year already, basically. In short, that is RERA. RERA is it's like a boom for the what do you call home buyers actually. It's a beginning. I won't say it's perfect, but it takes time, right? So eventually it will improve further. Maharashtra is leading the effort on RERA part basically. A lot of changes which you have done. I think personally, the entire country, all the states should adopt it. Go ahead, Abhichar.
Yeah.
So Manoj,
Thank you, sir.
nothing. I have two questions. So one is this hiring a lawyer, legal and all that is buyer's responsibility or sellers, for
Buyers.
verification and all that?
Buyers.
So I
See,
think
buyer is
sellers,
paying.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think sellers should take care of during this resale transactions.
Okay, so two different things. You are paying rupee from your pocket, and we all know the law and order condition in India. Correct. So it's better, even if it's no, take buyer's responsibility to get the legal done. Okay.
Mhm.
In US, if before the property gets sold, the seller has to done the entire inspection of the property and make a report of all the issues with the property. And that has to be shared with the buyer. In India, we don't have such laws. So in our sale agreement, we put it, the property is sold in as is condition. That means if there are some problems, deal with it basically, right? So the entire responsibility falls on the buyers basically.
Okay.
It's extremely critical to get the legal done basically.
So I have another question.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Agarwal, can I?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Yeah. So see, recently government has given some new norms with the registration form process with e-asti. So what is happening is that many NRIs customers are outside, and there are someone who has already given their citizenship, and now they want to buy a property. But how this can be worked? Like the new buyers should have an Aadhaar card where they are already a US citizen. So do you have any highlights for this?
Last I heard recently that government has made the changes to the law. Aadhaar card is no longer compulsory. I heard recently. But anyway, for last 1 month, hardly any restriction because of the e-khata issue.
Yes, correct. So this is even the new purchase also is getting affected now because builder is not.
There's a lot of background noise from your side.
I'm sorry. I'll just tell my question and mute back. Just for the only for the new booking also there is a lot of problem. So I just want to highlight, or I'll just mute now.
Yep. I think somebody by name TP, short from TP. Can you please ask your question? Pooja, who knows TP raising the hand actually?
It's Mr. TVS Siva.
Can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Okay.
Good morning. I got one question. Of
Yeah.
course, you already told that say you're not a cancer expert, but still, if you can answer my query, that'll be great. Otherwise,
Sure.
you can ignore it.
Mhm.
So I'm an authorized representative for a group of home buyers in an insolvency case. See, now in the one reservation is received and probably it may go through. And say some of the home buyers may cancel their bookings, very few. So in that case, they are asking for refund of the GST, which was already paid long back. GST or VAT or service tax, whatever they paid. Is it possible in any way?
I don't know this answer actually. So let's wait for
Okay.
12:45. When Himanshu comes, you can ask this question to him.
Okay.
11:45.
Sorry,
Thank
11:45.
you. Thank you.
So I'll move on to
Mr.
the next slide.
Vivek has a question.
We'll
Maybe we
come
can
back to
take
Vivek.
one last question.
Okay,
Vivek,
thank
go
you very much, Pooja. So I just want to give you a timeline. So in my case, my society received OC in March 2023, and in September 2023, the builder handed over the society to the resident here. However, we could not form a permanent committee, and we are still in a process. So the committee has applied for this 1959 and 1960 Act for the cooperative society. It is under process. Now, from my side, I'm interested to sell my property within 3 to 4 months. I just want to know that will it impact any, let's say, any process in the selling part or any price or anything?
No, not
Okay.
at all. Not at all.
Okay. So I can directly deal with the buyer, the potential buyer,
Yes,
and
yes,
we can maybe
yes,
involve a lawyer to
yes,
form the document and all. Okay,
yes.
got it.
So that part will be done by buyer, but please apply for e-Khata ASAP.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
That is a requirement which you do now basically. Huh?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Next slide, Pooja. This is most interesting for me. Most of the time when I talk to my friends, right, they always want to book a new property through a builder. Okay. So, and I was thinking why they do it basically, right? So biggest reason I found out is there's a lack of knowledge and guidance to buy a resale property. So what they do typically a home buyer, one thing somebody was asked in the chat, right? Is the sellable area and this area same? The answer is yes. Super built up and sellable is same. Builder will charge you on the sellable area, which is called super built up area. Carpet area is the area on which you actually lay the carpet inside the house. But in case of Indian RERA, these things, it also includes the space occupied by the inner walls. Okay, so you don't get the actual carpet area, what is mentioned by the builder, you get minus the inner walls. But in US, what I realized, they don't count the inner walls, just count the actual carpet area. Okay, now coming back on this topic, why do people write? One, lack of knowledge of process and guidance. So what I noticed, people who stay in a particular community, since they love and like that area, they end up buying there. Anything outside that, they feel uncomfortable. The reason being the process, the pricing, legal issues, and they feel safe. Let's go to the builder, right? At the same time, in India, the real estate agents, right, realtor, brokers, whatever you call it, that is very highly unorganized, right? And the things have changed now, but 20 years back, 16 when I moved back to India, people would say, "Kuch nahi karna to broker ban jao." But that's no longer true anymore. I have seen a lot of qualified people, and many organized companies are in this space now, right? So some level of trust has been come, and the sector is getting organized, right? And then there is a perception about quality and building being old, right? Still, I get a question asked here, Manoj, you stay in Purva Fountain Square. This building is now 15-year-old. Should I buy a property in that building? Right? So my answer is yes. These are the 2, 3, 4 main concerns. A buyer hesitate to go with a resale property and they try to book through a builder a new property. Anybody want to add anything on this topic? What they feel? Any other reason they go with a builder to book a new property instead of buying a resale property?
See, one reason can be, I don't know whether it is applicable in Bangalore, Manoj, that white and black thing, right? White money versus black money.
So fortunately, that white and black thing does not apply in case of Bangalore. Correct. But one thing does apply. Somebody responded on the chat. Payment plan that yes, you get flexible in paying. You pay small amount, then slowly you disperse the loan, right? Then your EMI getting spread out. Yes, that's a good reason. Anything else? Why they don't want to go for resale property?
There may be
Because
some
again,
defects in a property which may not be visible to the buyer, because of which, say, the original owner may be selling it. Say, sometime back, say, a decade back, somebody has shown me a property. Actually, when I saw that property, it was dampening. He told that to say that property belongs to the developer or somebody, to the builder, I suppose. But he hid that fact that it is dampening and there is no proper approach to that particular flat. Though it's a big society and overall construction is good, but this particular flat only was left out of maybe some 200-300 flats, and all our others are occupied. Likewise, there may be some defects which may not be known to the
But agree.
normal players.
Yes. So the last point covers actually negative perception about quality. Anybody, anything else? A lot of good points are coming up online actually. Thank you.
There could be people may fear that some untoward incident had happened in the flat or property because of that. Let's say the property is being sold off.
Yes. So people posted online, right? New built up so longer, like possibly doubt in reason for selling, right? Why this guy is selling? Lack of trust on the seller, right? Religious belief, non-wage, all those things, right? Lower resale value in future as building will become too old. Yes. So thank you for sending also. I keep on whatever reason you are sharing. This is what I heard as well. Okay. Now, the reason I brought up this topic, whatever reason we are applying for a resale property, right? If you think logical little deeper, exact same reason would apply if you buy the property through the builder also. The difference here is in case of resale property, it's visible to you right now. In case of new property through the builder booking, you are not, you assume कि builder है, अच्छा builder है, brand new, it will good only. But trust me on this part, there is not much difference actually. If Purankara made this building today, and after 10 there is a seepage, a new building done by somebody else, after 10 years, we'll have the same seepage. Now, because of the technological advancement, correct? Cost of the apartment going up, the 10-year could become 15-year basically. Correct. So the point I was trying, the reason I asked for those opinion from team member in the audience was every problem has a solution. Now in India, there are companies who does a thorough inspection of the entire property. So even if suppose your building is ready to move in, right? And builder say take the keys and get the property registered in your name, you can hire an external vendor to do the complete inspection of the property. And they charge hardly 10 to 15,000 rupees. Even in our office, since we do a lot of property management, we have a thermal camera which captures the dampness inside the wall, which cannot be caught by the naked eyes, right? Legal verification, all those things has to be done. Main advantage, I will tell you why resale properties are better. Generally speaking, one, you get at least 5 to 10% more carpet area. So we're getting 10% carpet area addition, that's additional cost saving of around 14%. Interior, however good or bad, it's already done. So some saving is there. Whatever the loophole in terms of legal issues, right, is already out in the market. It's a much better location compared to the new property. Okay. And then if you look at overall ecosystem, it's already in place. You would find schools, medical, college, everything, right? And from day one, you can move in. You can get the tax benefit right away. In case of new booking, besides all those benefits, the issues are one, no tax benefit for 4 years. You still keep on paying the rent for your house, right? Lack of trust, again, less carpet area. Again, you spend a lot of money on the interior. Even if everything is done, right, you cannot move in right away because of still a lot of work is going on, right? So there are pros and cons. We have a separate document. We can take a separate on that part. Please visit our website and just compare and think logically. The most common question I ask, because the older property will the price will go down? Answer is no. Why it doesn't go down? When we buy, suppose 15 years back when Purva Rivera got sold, the price was almost 1500 rupees per square feet of an apartment. Out of that 1500, cost of construction was 300, 400 rupees. Land was 1000 rupees. Today, the cost of construction from 500 after 20 is gone to 2000 to 2000 rupees. Not much, but cost of land has gone from 1000 to 10,000 rupees. So it's the land value which decides the price of the property, not the cost of construction. Okay. And if you want to rebuild a house also, right, it doesn't cost much. It's because of emotional sentiment, we end up paying more to the builder, right? And buy a house, keep thinking everything is all right. You can hire professional to compare vision. And as a real estate agent in this business, right? For us also, if we sell a builder's property, it's easy money for us. We have to take you to the builder. He will do all the groundwork for you, for us also, and we take our commission from the builder directly. So buyer is not paying us anything. He's happy, correct? Builder is happy. We brought from the customer. I'm happy. Everything is done by the builder without me putting any effort. Just for the name's sake, I wish accompanied him. I'll help him to find the right apartment, right floor, my market intelligence, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour job for me, right? And easy money for us. So most of the company will look at this kind of a customer as well and target this kind of this thing as a business model to make money also, right? In case of resale property, it's a huge headache for any realtor because of so much of perception in the market about the resale property. Then once they find, right, everything is to be done by the realtor. And when the buyers pay the money also. So there are so many other factors also that buyer is hesitant to go through an agent or go direct. Once you are aware of those issues and the concern, right? At the end of the day, if builder is paying a service fee, right, more than what you pay to us, right? And ultimately you are the one who's paying money to the builder, and I'm taking money from the builder on your behalf only. One way or other way, end customer always pays for everybody else. Just be aware of it, basically, right? Most important thing, home buying is a emotional decision, not a logical decision. That's true actually for most of the case in our life also, but more so in case of a buying home purpose. So we made a specific guide called home buyer's guide. It's posted in our website also. You can go through it and see logically does it make sense to you. If it does, then when you buy the house, pick up that file and compare. Should I buy this? Does it match your requirement? Correct. Take a next slide, please. So I won't go in detail on this part. We have covered briefly, right? But on a high level, right? This is my opinion between a property on resale and property on under construction. But I'll ask a question, answer a question which is not written here. Then why I don't sell or focus more on the primary market or the apartment gets sold through the builder there. Why I'm focusing on the resale property, right? As an agent, what is my benefit to it? So I always tell my team member also, and I'm very much convinced, business is not about today. Business is about tomorrow, about creating legacy, right? Creating a long-term value for the investor, for the customer, for everybody. In case of the home buying through the builder, the buyer will meet us for hardly 1 or 2 hours and deal is done. Then buyer and builder will talk for next 3-4 years, and that customer doesn't belong to us at all. No relationship is established. Of course, I make even a lot more money than I make through resale, right? But I have to keep up doing the hard work of lead generation, looking at the builder by builder to make money out of it, right? Now, financially, if I go with the resale property, I'm losing money upfront. But because of our trust and transparent customer have in us, and we are a structured company, we are ISO certified, we have the process in place, team is trained by ICF coaches, right? Customer becomes very friendly with us within a couple of months when they buy the property through us. Now that customer is a lifelong customer for us, right? In the future, you want to sell, want to buy, take a home loan, get it done, right? So for us right now, it's delivering us more money compared to the booking property. So that's a financial benefit I have, right? Long-term customer, long-term relationship, and long-term benefit as well, right? And the relationship is beneficial for us, for everybody, lifelong as well, correct? We all understand that. But most importantly, for last 6 years, I do whatever my heart tells me actually. Money has become secondary for me. Okay. Now, I personally feel resale property has got a lot more value to the home buyer than buying through the builder. Of course, I'm general statement. In general, I'm saying basically. That's the reason I have highlighted some of the points here. If I have to buy a property for myself or my brother comes to me, if I get me a property, I would always say go with a resale property. Of course, it comes with some challenge, but with the proper help in place, right? Good lawyer, good agent, good bank in place, you can easily find a much better deal on a resale property. I will open up the for questions again. If anybody has any question, feel free to ask. Any question on this slide also, feel free to ask.
One question, Manoj, again, this is Avichal. Resale, see, in case of builder, they set the price and all that. So resale, how that pricing or the cost of the property is being determined these days?
So, just once, yeah. So Himanshu Baheti have also joined the call. He will be on the call only for 15 minutes. He has to go for some family function. But let me answer this question. After that, if somebody any question on taxation, we can ask Himanshu first. I can stay as long as you guys want to. Okay. So in case of resale property, when the first time the home buyer buys, the baseline is established by the builder already, right? Suppose you bought a property in say Purva Rivera in 2004 during pre-launch. The 2 BHK was costing everything all around 35 lakh rupees. Now suppose after 3 you want to sell, right? So by that time there is not much data available for the price of the property, right? But the seller would do a simple math. If I have to put the money in the bank plus some more interest, right? I should get 10 to 12% interest income, right? 8-9% my loss plus investment income. He will add up that interest part and that becomes kind of baseline. Second baseline is the same buyer will go to the builder also. At what price he is selling. Suppose builder is selling at that time for say 45 lakhs rupees. Property was sold for 35 lakh rupees 4 years back during pre-launch, right? Now, as a buyer or as a broker, right, I have two data points, correct? One, builder is quoting 45 lakh rupees. If I add up 12% interest, right, it's coming around say 42 lakh rupees. Now the range is between 42 to 45 lakh rupees. Now, of course, if you go to the builder, he will negotiate. So maybe 44 lakh, 43 lakh rupees, right? So we have that range now.
Okay.
That's how the initial pricing get determined. Plus, we also look at the price of the new property launched in that area at that point of time, right? Resale property market value on that area on that point of time, right? Plus demand and supply. What is the ongoing rent going on? How quickly the property is getting rented out, correct? So plus also happens. Suppose I am the investor, right? Bought the property. Now I want to sell because
Got it.
I don't want to get that property registered in my name and pay 7% to the government, right? I want to also exit. So I might sell it cheaper also. So typically you get a better deal when you buy on the resale from the seller basically instead of going to the builder. So somebody has a question on tax, you can ask Himanshu now.
I have one question quickly, Himanshu. Sorry, I don't want to steal the show, but I'm based in US. How
Sure.
easy is to, both buying and selling is to move money across countries? Any idea?
Uh, I am okay. Am I audible, right? So,
Yes, you are.
so yes, when you are moving money from USA to India, you have to open an NRE account and you have to infuse money through NRE account. Okay. So, for the purpose of investment, when you are repatriating back to USA, at that time you don't have the restrictions which are imposed to normal residents in India under the LRS. So, coming to your question, like on the taxability and repatriation and movement of money. So, movement of money is free once it is done through NRE account. Now, coming to the taxation part, as per the recent amendments, they have reduced the tax rates for the long-term capital gains on the property to 12.5% from 20%. And they have also removed the indexation. So you have to hold the property for a minimum period of 2 years for India. Now comes the third applicability, which is the double taxation. So while you are furnishing your 1040, you also have to declare 1040 NR, where you have to declare income from India. like whatever is your rental income and whatever is your capital gains. So that is one place where you have to declare also. So that is something which you can check with your local CPA in US how to claim the credit on the Indian taxes. So only the Indian part of the income will be taxable in India. The US and whatever taxes you are paid in India, you will get a relief in USA, and you have to offer a differential tax or whatever it is.
So do I need to
So
pay
did
taxes in India on capital gains?
there is a specified threshold limit which is applicable for both residents and non-residents for the rental income, and for the capital gains there are threshold limit does not apply. So yes, you have to pay the taxes because the right to receive the taxes, if the first right to receive is by the Indian government, as the income is accrued in India, accrued and received in India. So yes, first offering will be to the Indian government, then differential offering will be to the US government.
Okay. So basically, if I have a property which I want to sell and I have an NRE account, I can do the transaction, have the money received in NRE account or NRENR, whatever is the right one. Then I don't have to that. See, recently I heard Indian government is charging some GST and all that on currency exchange also. That will not be applicable for NRIs.
GST will be applicable, but it will be on reverse charge mechanism. Means the forex dealer will include the GST in the service fee and exchange. Okay, it is not exempt from tax, because once the goods and services are supplied in India, then GST will be applicable. For NRI, there is no separate. Means unless unless you take the currency exchange in USA. For example, you have HSBC in India and HSBC in USA, or Axis in India and Axis in USA. So if you want to save on the currency exchange, so you have to deal with Axis USA, Axis California, or Axis New York. So you can save some currency and some GST over there.
Okay. Thank you.
Now I think Himanshu, somebody has a question. They bought the house through the builder. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, actually, you told that if the NRE purchasing a house through NRE account and then selling, how to repatriate. But most of the cases, it's inherited properties which the NREs are selling. How do we repatriate at that time?
So once it is an inherited property, means whoever has put the money or invested the money in the property or purchased the property, they have earned the income through Indian income. Okay. In that case, you have to open an NRO account, non-resident ordinary account, and you have to receive the money in the INR from the bank DD or from the buyer. In the NRO account, in that case, there are LRS limits up to 2 million US dollar you can take in one financial year. Post 2 million dollars, you have to take RBI approval.
Now, one question, Himanshu, somebody is asking initially. They cancel the booking with the builder after 2-3 years. But by that
Okay.
time, they paid a lot of amount in GST to the builder.
Okay.
Now, after cancellation of the booking, right, builder paid back their money, but
Okay.
GST amount, is that also refundable?
GST is not refundable.
तो एक बार सरकार के पास गया तो गया, मतलब वन वे ट्रैफिक.
हाँ, GST is indirect tax that is not refundable.
ठीक है,
But the
मिस्टर
property will
रिया.
be sold again to some other new buyer. In that
So
case,
you
is
can
not
recover the invested amount from the new buyer. The
Okay.
buyer also cannot take back GST.
That means the original buyer, even after cancellation of his booking, he cannot get back any amount, you mean?
Yes, whatever once it is paid to the government as GST, you cannot claim it back. Yes,
Okay.
by any person. My love ki not even NRI, even domestic people also. If once they have paid the GST, they cannot claim it back. Okay, GST में refund नहीं होता. ठीक है. Only in case of export of services, they have to apply for LUT. In that case, if they have a special approval by the government, तो उन लोग भी GST जो collect करते हैं अपना जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पे जो लगा है खाली उस केस में रिफंड आता है और कोई भी केस में रिफंड नहीं आता. There is only one exception in the entire GST law.
Mr. Riazur Rahman, do you have any questions?
Thank you for the clarification.
Anybody else for tax
Sir,
questions?
sir, another small query, sir. Supposing in the new act, new amendment which is done for capital gains, we have to pay
Yes.
12.5% on the capital gains without indexation.
Right.
But they
Right.
also given a benefit that the first year we can opt for either the old method or new method.
Okay.
With indexation 20% also, the choice is there for current year. Suppose I sell two
Okay.
properties, can I opt one property the old method and one property new method?
So I would just like to re-clarify the rule. The rule is if you are a resident, you can opt for old method or new method if you have purchased the property before 23rd of July 2024. That is the rule. That is the amendment. Okay, and that is only applicable for residents. It is not applicable for non-residents. Non-residents have to go for new method without indexation. That is first rule. Okay. Now coming back to your question whether you can opt for this one or second one. So I think that will be it is not mentioned anywhere that you can apply for a new method for the entire or it is one. So I think in the ITR forms it will be available whether you want to go for indexation or not. In ITR forms, once it comes, you can check at that time whether it is available or not. But as per the amendment or as per the bill, it is nowhere written that you have to compulsory go for both properties in the new method or old method. It is not written in the amendment.
Thank you, sir. Because what I understood was that capital gains tax is asset specific. So one asset I can opt for this, one asset I opt for other one. That's what I thought. But
correct.
you
You
said,
in the ITR form, no, in the ITR form, there will be add immovable properties. There is a section called capital gain. In that, you have to add the rows. In one row, they ask when was this purchased, when was this sold, do you want to claim for indexation? So we have to see in the form whether it is taking up or not. In case of the erstwhile what they were mentioning last 2 years for the salary or the entire computation, there was an option in the beginning of the form. So I think if in this case, if they give in the capital gains section, you can opt. If they give in the beginning of the form, you cannot opt. That we have to take. But in the rules, nowhere it is written whether you can, whether this flexibility is available or not.
thank you, sir.
Mr. Riazur Rahman, your hand is. Can you please ask your question? Anybody else before I let Himanshu go?
I think Mr. Riazur is speaking, but we can't hear you.
Himanshu, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much for valuable input. Anna, I'll let you
Thank
go
you.
because of family commitment. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Acha, one questions came online in the Magic Bricks or 99 acres, right? They also track the history of the property, which area wise, which project wise, right? What was the price for last 5 year, 10 year, depending on the how much they had. Okay. So somebody on the group responded, okay, they are inaccurate. So I have a different opinion. Okay. So in India, the data is not correct actually, no matter who captures it. The two reasons being, one, government is not so upfront in sharing data. Second is lot of still happens in India with a combination of white and cash component. Correct. So the source of data for all those companies are government records. Okay. So that's the reason the data is inaccurate on the magic bricks or this one. But having said that, we get some idea from that what is the actual rate going on in that rate, right? Some kind of baseline. This is the bare minimum with the current rate going on. It also give a very good baseline about the price in that particular area like Marthali or Whitefield, right? And the trend as well, right? Which way trend is going. So it's like 19 acres, and there's a couple of more startups has come up now. So they're also started capturing the data, rental, all those things. In next 2, 3, 4 years, you will see a lot of prop tech coming to the real estate space. In fact, we also have a company called zerochaos.in, where a lot of these things can be done online, buying, selling, rental agreement, the quick click of a button. In a lawyer or CA, see, lawyer or CA cannot give you the baseline. You have to, most of the banks will have an agency called valuator. They can give you a baseline as per the bank, what is the current price of that property. So typically third bank will use those third party lender to assess the rental property. Then you can also go to the local broker in that area. When you go to the local broker to that area, two different persons should go. One should say, I want to buy, give me the best deal. Second one should say, I want to sell, right? So that you will see a gap in these two numbers. When this person says, I want to sell, he will go to say 1 crore. When a buyer goes, he will say 80 lakh rupees. Correct? So now you know the range 80 lakhs to 1 crore. So assume to be safe around 90 lakh rupees. So typical the market practices, they will show you the no. I can get you a very good deal to the buyer. So they will underprice. To the seller, it will show I can get you more money, right? So it's overpriced. So since you know the range from the same agent now, talk to 2, 3 people in that area. They'll get a fair idea of the range. And then you can figure it out. Anybody else, any other questions? One thing from last from my side, then we can wind up the call. It says lower resale value in future as building will become too old for resale property. This is a myth actually. I'll give a specific example. Urva Rivera got sold for 1,500 rupees during pre-launch. Right now, it is getting sold for 12,000 rupees per square feet. So from 1,500 to 12,000 rupees. The price of the property is determined more on the location, right? Builder, amenities, accessibility, all those things basically. Okay, not on the how old is the properties. So with this, I'm done. Over to you, Pooja.
Sir, can I ask one last question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sir, normally sometimes we're advised to put a clause called time is the essence of the contract in a real estate deal. What is the advantage of it in doing a specific performance or a compensation? If you can.
So specific performance act basically it's so one more thing before I answer these two questions. In the sale agreement, lawyer will put lot of terms and conditions. Sometimes buyer or sometimes seller will say कि मुझे एक clause नहीं चाहिए. I don't want that clause to be part of my sale agreement. Okay. And we tell the buyer and the seller the same answer. Whether you keep that clause in the sale agreement or not doesn't really matter. This is the law of the government. Okay. The purpose of highlighting those clauses on the sale agreement is that so that both buyer and seller are aware about the law of the country. So even if you remove that clause from the sale agreement, it has got no impact to buyer or seller. This is more of an FYI. Law still exists. Okay, so don't be too these things about sale agreement by if there's some government clause are there, this is for information. And anytime there's a conflict with your lawyer, right? The person who is advising you, correct? इसे कि ये मत करो. Go to the same lawyer, some different lawyer, and act reverse your role. Suppose if you have gone as a buyer, tell them you are a seller now. See if his version changes. If it does, now you would know, right? You have to change your lawyer. Many times I have seen, right? Some like the lawyer will try to create value for the buyer by unnecessarily dragging the legal part, just to show it, to make it a proof to the buyer he's a good lawyer, right? Sometimes it becomes smartness to go to the same lawyer with some other name, and you become a seller and talk about the same topic and know his opinion. Then the truth will come out. Right? Now coming back to answer those two questions. I forgot the question now. Can you please repeat?
Sir, it is sometimes we are advised to put a clause called time is the essence of the contract in case of a sale of especially in a real estate thing.
Yes.
What is the impact of it on getting compensation or a specific performance?
See, without not mentioning that time period, right? That both the, if you look at Pooja, can you go to the first slide? In the first slide, we discussed about on the negotiation part, the closure time. So if you don't specify any time period, right? By what time period, both the buyer and seller will close the deals. Now it's open for discussion, right? You may say, come tomorrow, I'll come after 1 year. Buyer won't pay you the money. I'll do after 2 years, 3 years, right? So now your property is locked. As long as the buyer can drag on, basically, right? For seller, it's some issue. He want to harass you. He took bulk of the money. He's not coming up for registration now, right? He's enjoying the rental income, and you are stuck now. So time is extremely important clause in the entire sale agreement, where you both the party agree, and when you invoke the specific performance act part, you have to show that look, this was agreed on. Within 2 months, we will pay and close the deals. Without that, I don't know how the lawyer will proceed. I don't know. You can ask the lawyer, but this is what my understanding. One of the most important clause on the sale agreement is it like by what time you will close the deals. Anyone, any other questions? Go ahead, Pooja.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for being such an engaging audience today and for your fantastic questions. I hope this session helped you gain valuable insights into the real estate market in Bangalore. And a special thank you to Mr. Manoj Agarwal for taking the time to share his expertise and for answering questions with such depth and transparency. Before we end, I'd like to share that this webinar is part of our monthly series where we cover different topics to empower you with knowledge in real estate decisions. So if you found this session helpful and want to stay informed about future webinars, do follow us on our social media channels. Thank you so much, and sorry for the 7-minute delay. I think the meeting was set for 12 p.m., but we went a little overtime. Yeah.
Thank you, Pooja, for organizing it, and thank you everyone to make my day productive. Happy to have